Mama?
No. Dinner is not ready. What are you gonna do? You can't hurt me anymore!
Kind of carefully bringing it right towards the camera.
The thing that makes Night real special, I think, is the amount of preparation and care he puts into storyboarding and then thoroughness. You know, really no one else that I've ever met or heard of approaches it really the way that he does. It's like 180 degrees difference from a lot of jobs I get, whereas it's just, okay, here it's just coverage, close up here, close up there.
Which you get a sense of the room, a little bit. It's really, obviously, it's very blurry and stuff, but you get a sense of shells and things.
It's just a different way of thinking. As far as I know, it's really unique. You know, I don't know anyone else who works like that.
It needs to be like
Yeah.
like that.
No, I got you now.
You got me, right? Brick and I started working on Wide Awake, which was my second movie, and he came on just for a few weeks on that film, and I had a shot list, and he basically drew pictures to the shot list. After that, the movie after that, which was The Sixth Sense here, started a whole new way of working, which was basically writing a visual script to the movie. So it wasn't me saying, let's do a medium shot and a close-up, but more interpreting the screenplay, saying using this as a starting point. How can we visually support that story? And that started a really cool process. It was a long process, 12, 16-week process of writing the script again, but through pictures. Okay, so let's say it's shaped like this, and this is the pantry. Can you buy that or no, on a diamond?
Well,
So I'm
generally,
trying to
pantries
get
have
the-
right angles, I think.
Sarcasm. You know, in India, that's very insulting, you know? It's terrible. This back here, I thought
Sarcasm
would be
here.
all dark. It's
Right.
all in dark. That's what I'm getting is
Oh, I
some
got
of
you.
the
That's a-
dark corner. So that
Yeah.
when he looks in here, it's very dark, you know, part of it, and that you get
Yeah,
a
I
glimpse
got
of
you.
something. We kind of developed a real chemistry for how to approach this type of filmmaking, which is kind of a lost art of filmmaking. I've heard some directors refer to this as two-dimensional filmmaking, and oh, we can't do that because it's only in 2 dimensions and you have to see people. But gosh, I mean, I sure see this as 3 dimensions when we look at it.
It's very important for him that he wants to take the audience on a ride and not let them not ease up even the littlest bit until the ride is over. You know, I mean, you know how in a lot of kind of more mediocre movies, it might kind of amuse you at some point, but then your mind might stray. You see, he doesn't want to do that. He wants you to be with the characters all the way. He feels that, I mean, obviously there are a lot of factors, you know, acting, colors, light and everything, but I think he also feels that the way a film is shot is a huge, you know, factor in bringing the audience in the way he wants to. So I think that's why he devotes so much effort, you know, to storyboarding.
Kyle, can you show me with the camera? Good, that's it right there. Okay, let's do it again. The benefit of storyboarding is we just get to sit there without the anxiety of money being spent. You know, you can hear it being spent because there's 250 people standing around and everyone's staring and all these crew members and, you know, the star waiting in the trailer, whatever it is, the pressures that are there. And then for me to go, what angle shall I shoot this little girl from?
And what we usually do, we sit, you know, we talk about the scene initially, and I do kind of real rough thumbnails right on the spot to try to figure out if that's what, you know, the best way you see handling it. And then I'll go off, take the drawings up to a slightly tighter level, so then we can really get more of an idea what it's going to look like. And it's amazing how just looking at a picture sometimes can really almost generate an idea.
You're a stuttering Stanley.
How did you...
Stop looking at me!
Who have you been speaking to?
Stuttering Stanley! Stuttering Stanley! Stuttering Stanley! Stuttering Stanley!
Stop that.
Stuttering Stanley! Stuttering Stanley! Stuttering Stanley!
Shut up, you freak!
One of the things that happens when we take the screenplay and go to the visuals is the sense of serving the story, you know, as opposed to serving our egos. So, you know, what can happen is, and we're really good at that, and that's definitely Brick's influence is a restraint, you know, that there's a sense when we come up with over and over and over. I'll go, oh, or Brick will say something, and I'll go, I got it. Here's what we do. We start above the guy, and we come down, and I'll draw it up, and I'll say, let's look at that. What do you think about that? And then we'll both say, wow, that's a really cool shot. And as soon as we say that, we know it's not going in the movie, because if that's the reason that I drew it, wow, it's a cool shot, goes right out the window, you know. And you have to really understand. There's a couple directors, one in particular I'm thinking of, that the visuals are you're just kind of watching acrobatics, and it's a real understanding of what does shallow focus do versus a real deep depth of field, and shallow focus is a very beautiful thing, that is not how we see things, like this. When I look around at someone, I see, but it is when I do this, and I stare at the top of this, you are completely blurred. That's a very specific human moment when I do that. So it's an important process of learning about filmmaking. We'll sit there and analyze, gosh, that should work. What we're looking at should work. So it's as if we're watching dailies, and we're looking at it. Why doesn't that work? And it's fascinating working that all out. And then, hopefully over time you'll get a set of principles to make films by.
Yeah, we spent actually a lot of time just looking at a really rough sketch of something, and then, does that work or doesn't it work? What does that make you feel, just even looking at this little sketch? And
it's hard.
And again,
because we get to be the camera operator, and the DP and everybody,
and
just
the actor in a way,
right? By the positioning. So when he puts somebody in 3/4 profile, and I say, let's draw him in perfect profile, then we say, well, no, 3/4 profile is definitely better. And when we talk about why, then on the set, when there's a big star there and he says, I was thinking about doing this, and he goes into profile, I'll say, what that tells me visually is that you're uninterested. But I already know that because we did this already. Whereas if I never even thought about it, that may just go right by. He'll go, I'm going to profile. I'll be like, great, go ahead, do it. Then we'll get into dailies and go, God, he looks so disinterested. And it's that, and there's a million decisions to make on a movie, and this will knock out some of them at least, and that's got to be a good thing, because there's plenty to do on the set, and anything to help me with that plan is great.
If we can't talk to each other, we're not going to make it.
We both have a love for the long takes
That's
without
how
sacrificing
I won't
pace,
get
and
mad.
pace can be achieved in a long
Did
take.
you take
There's
the-
something that's lost when you cut, a loss of atmosphere, reality, and I believe in it. It was something that he got me onto by reading some stuff about Walter Murch, that he had his theories about cutting, and we really took that to heart on this movie.
You've had enough roast beef. You need to leave the table. Go!
There's a really interesting book that Walter Murch wrote called In the Blink of an Eye. He has very interesting theories about what a cut actually is. And to oversimplify things completely, he feels that humans blink as part of their thought and the thought process. And the counterpart of that in film is a cut. So he just feels that you can't kind of abuse the cut. I mean, if you just cut boom, 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 like MTV, or, it's like so much of the television stuff nowadays, you sacrifice something. In a sense, you almost lose a little bit of the audience each time you do it, so you have to be real careful and put a lot of thought into when you're going to do it.
I just heard the little one is falling ill now. God help them.
In this particular shot, the boy Cole, he's really going to confront the problems that he's been having, and he has to go through this door, and Knight's decision was to show a reflection of the boy in a doorknob. He felt that would best capture, what he wanted, the way he wanted that scene to come out. So we drew it. And again, I was thinking at that point, I mean, it's one thing drawing this, but can this be executed and will it work?
This is for real. Picture.
Knight had pointed out that the doorknob shot, there's no way that could have happened on the set, because a real doorknob wouldn't give that kind of reflection. And even if you miraculously got the idea, the morning of that, they were shooting that scene, you couldn't come up with a proper doorknob in anywhere near enough time. So, even if you came up with the idea, it would have been a moot point anyway. But since That shot had been storyboarded months before that scene was shot. I think they even tried some different doorknobs, you know, made something out of polished metal, got it the right shape. And so by the time they got on the set, they knew exactly what they were going to shoot. There is a doorknob in place. He made that decision in the storyboarding process and was able to execute it, and then the shot was effective.
My point was, let's not guess at what the final film will look like. Let's figure it out in advance, and do all the work and all the anxiety and all the planning and all the blocking and everything, and work it through, and see what we come up with and what the film looks like. And you know what? That's the worst version of the movie that it can be. We get to the set and everybody's always like, you know, God, why did you do all that work? And that's the worst it can be now, you know, because we put all that thought into it. I loved it the first time we rehearsed it. Now she's like the center of the universe. Just incidental. Okay. Here we go.
You initially said, remember, let's see if we can do this without any traditional coverage.
Right. I mean, the coverage is the thing that is the crutch, you know, that people use. People that use coverage, which is almost everyone, kind of are the naysayers of storyboarding, because why would you need a storyboard if you're covering? And so we'll figure it out in the editing room.
And I've had editors even tell me that if you storyboard a scene a certain way and then decide to shoot it a different way, it still cuts better. The work you did, even though you ended up changing the way you shot it, the work pays off, I think.
Definitely.
Because it's thought.
Yeah, it's thought about, understanding about the characters in the movie. And basically all of this papers and everything that we do here in the months that we spend drawing is a philosophy of make the movie before you make the movie. Whereas most people's philosophy is make the movie in the editing room, you know, from the pieces that you have. And I really want to look at production and editing as a way of enhancing this, you know, and this is enhancing the screenplay. So basically, you know, visualizing the screenplay, using all those three elements to visualize the screenplay. Since I write them, I mean, it's natural that it would put the strength in the story. First of all, he wouldn't do that, because to be able to see this, he'd have to do this.
Right.
And that's what he's
That
trying to
defeats the
avoid.
purpose, yeah.
Right. So he doesn't want to get his face anywhere. The movie that we're working on now is called Signs, and this process definitely has been the fastest and most effortless process to date. Like, this was arduous. The Sixth Sense and Unbreakable process was really working hard, thinking it through, sweating it out, you know, looking at the clock going, oh my gosh, we've been on this scene for 5 hours. How are we gonna make this work? Or we only have one shot in 5 hours. What are we gonna do? You know, what's holding us up here? What's the problem? And, you know, it's a lot of work. I mean, I just enjoy, of making the movies, my favorite process is storyboarding. It's, you know, you have control of everything. You can, how big you want the house, how big you want, you know, where the characters are, how many extras you want. It's all possible here. It's just so much fun, you know. I've heard some directors say, you know, they'd rather go to the dentist than do this process. I guess each to his own.
Cut.
And we cut.
After he throws that ball, let's keep going. Throw it back to him, get back into the huddle, okay?